Hello everyone, with the Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Wednesday evening, November 19, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you all like this video. I'd really appreciate it if you all get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the weather has been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Taking a look at the U.S. National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook that just came out at 6:09 p.m. Tropical cyclone activities is not expected during the next 7 days, and this is the reason why not much of anything trying to develop across the Atlantic. Still watching that trough right here to the east of Bermuda, clouds associated with the intertropical convergence zone right here to the south of the Cabo Verde Islands. Nothing really trying to develop at all to acquire the name Nestor. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can make out the broken orange lines associated with the troughs. That one right here to the east of Bermuda, this one right here to the north of Hispaniola, the southern Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, another one right here just to the southeast of the Dominican Republic, and we see the red line associated with the intertropical convergence zone that represents where the air from the northern hemisphere meets the air from the southern hemisphere, and we have a lot of rising air cloud showers and thunderstorms down there, and we can see it all even better on the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before we lost sunlight. Here the clouds are associated with a trough, another trough to the north of Hispaniola into the southern Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, that other trough right here to the southeast of the Dominican Republic, and the clouds associated with the intertropical convergence zone extending all the way from Africa across the southern Mediterranean region into the Windward Island. We can also see the low to mid-level flow of the clouds being steered from east to west as usual, all courtesy of that ridge of high pressure to the north. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Wednesday, November 19, 2025. It was stated that rainfall could have been in the forecast of parts of northeastern Jamaica on Wednesday morning, also affecting sections of eastern and central parishes during Wednesday afternoon. And you know that when we're referring to northeastern parishes in Jamaica, we're talking about anywhere from St. Ann eastward, St. Ann, St. Mary, and Portland. It was also predicted that would have gotten some afternoon rainfall across some eastern and central parishes, but that part didn't verify. But what did verify was that rainfall across the northeast. Look at the clouds pushing into section of Portland, into section of St. Mary. That was where most of the clouds and isolated shower activity was. Even although we got in on some cloud cover across section of St. Elizabeth, it was mainly more so on the partly cloudy, if not overcast skies side than rainfall. If anything, the rainfall for today was mainly across sections of St. Mary into Portland, maybe northern St. Andrew, northern St. Thomas. That was basically it, as you can make out that moist northeasterly flow. And as you know, this is all relief rainfall for sure in the hills of Portland and the mountains, maybe the Blue Mountains right in there as well. And we can see the infrared satellite imagery confirming that we didn't get that much in the way of thunderstorm activity at all. No blues, green, yellows, oranges, and reds that represent the cumulonimbus cloud cover. No sparkling white dust that represent lightning at all. So clearly the southern parishes, if not the eastern and central parishes, more so the southeast and the central parishes, we're definitely getting on the sunny conditions. As you can see here, the live camera from C Jamaica's YouTube channel shows the flat bridge. As you can see, people driving about, going about their business. Rear Cobra definitely chilling at this time. It's hard to believe that this was covering the entire roadway and the bridge when we had Melissa, but no, look how chill it is. Even got back its normal color, no more murky orange color, back to its normal greenish shade And this was at around 1:02 p.m. today. Sunny conditions for the most part. And if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams all for you all to view for free. So subscribe today to this channel so that you don't miss out. Taking a look at the total accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website. This map does indeed paint quite the picture for we had a rainfall today across sections of some northeastern parishes for the most part. And if we take a look at what's happening right now, what's taking place now, Jamaican Doppler radar not working, so let's work with the Cuban Doppler radar. We're also reloading the very latest still image from the Northern News website, and the latest Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar came on radar still done. So the latest still image from the Northern News website is showing 2315 UTC, which is actually 6:15 p.m. So this just came out 12 minutes ago, well 13 minutes ago, considering that it is 6:28 p.m. right now. And as you can see, no clouds across the island, definitely clear skies for the most part. And the Jamaican Doppler radar imagery confirms, but it's only going up to at least 5:50 p.m. So I'm guessing the last, let's say 30 minutes is missing, unfortunately. But as you can see, nothing to do with cloud cover or rainfall across the entire island at all. If you see colors, all of that is a glitch, that's ground clutter. Regarding the Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar, actually seeing some moisture associated with that trough across far eastern Cuba, southeastern Cuba, spilling into section of the southern Bahamas and Turks and Caicos, associated with the trough that we saw on the surface map right in here, and we saw the clouds over there as well. So it makes sense that sections of Cuba are getting in on some amount of rainfall at this time. Taking a look at what's happening right now, the live camera from See Jamaica's YouTube channel showing that we have people walking about, going about their business in the halfway tree here. People in their vehicles going about their business, very, congested. It's Kingston. It is, getting up to the Christmas period. Trust me, it's gonna be getting even worse. And boy, I've been hearing that there are a lot of people out west who have been, coming over to this side. My goodness, traffic is gonna be even more intense. But I don't blame them. Get over here where the civilization is, because boy, based on how Melissa did Western Jamaica, I don't blame them one bit. So as you can see, definitely fair conditions taking place, and that should be the order of the evening into the night. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, weekend today we have 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay and Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Thursday, temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 18th on Thursday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Thursday, and we can see Jamaica right here embedded in the grays that represents average temperatures. I know the average temperature for the month of November across Jamaica is around 88 degrees Fahrenheit. When that's converted to degrees Celsius that we use here in Jamaica, that's around 31.1 degrees Celsius. So that should be Jamaica's temperature forecast for Thursday. And if we take a look here, a post that was made here on JPS's page, they stated, do not pay anyone to reconnect your power. Any person asking for cash to restore your electricity is a scammer. See something, say something. If someone demands payment, report them immediately to 499-2061 with a photo of their vehicle if possible. Definitely, I'm glad, because even after Beryl there were incidents like these. They're claiming that they're working with JPS to fix the power, and then boy, I don't know if it's a scam, I don't know what's really going on, but hopefully there's none of that going on right now with Melissa. Taking a look right here, the tips to beat the heat. So if tomorrow is going to be a bit too hot for you, it states here, seek shade when you're outside, eat fresh or eating cold food such as salads and fruit, rest, make sure you get enough sleep, and rest if you're feeling tired. So take a cool shower or bath to help you cool down. And I cannot stress enough the importance of staying hydrated throughout the day. Drink lots of water even if you're not thirsty, and put away those sugar drinks and drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, we know that the dry air is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom. That's the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those areas. And we can see a lot of dry air extending from the waters of the east coast of the US all the way down into the Gulf and the western to the central Caribbean. There's a lot of dry air there. We know that the dry air is responsible for shutting down the areas, making it harder for it to rain. The air is so stable across these areas that have the dry air, but look at where we have a lot of blues into the grays. Wherever we have the blues, that's where we have the clouds and the grays. That's where we have a lot of moist air. And as you can see, we have some moisture across the northern portion of North Atlantic, the western main development region, the eastern Caribbean, and we have a lot of moisture across the southern main development region. Well, at this time we don't want any moisture, because you know that it can definitely cause rainfall, and especially those out west that don't have roofs, you know, they don't want that at this time at all. Regarding the Saharan dust forecast for the next 3 days, so we're heading into November 20, 21 and 22, and as you can see, Jamaica right here should be in the clear. Not much in the way of Saharan dust coming through. The Saharan dust, as you know, is represented by the greens into the yellows into the oranges and the pinks, and we don't see much of that at all. We see some slight Saharan dust pushing through the main development region, but at the beginning it was slightly vigorous in the greens into the yellows, but clearly the more it pushes to the west over the main development region over the next 3 days, the more it's going to dwindle down to nothing. And we're grateful for that, because know that the Saharan dust can definitely cause hazy skies, not to mention trigger respiratory illnesses in some persons. So we're grateful that that is the forecast for the Saharan dust for the next 3 days. The wave forecast for tomorrow still shows the Caribbean shaded in the blues that represents 1 to 1.5 meter wave height, and that's because of the winds that are expected. We see more of an easterly, if not east northeasterly, if not northeasterly flow across the Caribbean, averaging anywhere from 5 to 10 to 15 up to 20 knots in some cases. But if we zoom in on Jamaica's wave forecast for tomorrow, to the north of Portland up to 1.2 meter wave height, to the north of St. Anne 1.1 meter wave height expected, to the north of Hanover 1.2 meter wave height expected, to the south of Westmoreland 0.4 meter wave height expected, to the south of Clarendon 0.6 of a meter wave height expected, while to the south of St. Thomas up to 1.2 meter wave height expected. And that's because of the winds that are expected. We see that northeasterly flow from the windward passage between Cuba and Haiti pushing into northern Jamaica, and we see more of a easterly flow on the south coast. So this is where we could have the rainfall of the clouds pushing the moisture, well, all of the winds pushing the moisture down into northeastern parishes especially, and then we have that relief rainfall. And then during the afternoon, wherever we have the least amount of wind, that is where we're going to be having the low level clouds becoming mid level rain clouds, if not upper level cumulonimbus clouds. So look out for that afternoon rainfall if you're on the south coast. And the upper level wind still coming in from the west northwest, if not northwest. So if we actually get some thunderstorms to formulate on the south coast tomorrow, those cloud tops would be sheared off towards the southeast, if not the east southeast, definitely favoring more of that afternoon overcast sky, if not isolated thundershower activity across the southern parishes in Jamaica. And the actual rainfall forecast maps now, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS, are both valid for 8 a.m. on Thursday, November 20, and we see the blues represent rainfall on the Euro across section of northern Jamaica, so anywhere from St. James, eastward Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland, maybe eastern St. Thomas. The GFS is more so believing in the fact that it could rain more so across section of St. Mary into Portland and eastern St. Thomas, not necessarily St. Anne, Trelawney and St. James. We'll see how that actually plays out, but clearly the consensus or the agreement is for northeastern parishes. Then during the afternoon, look at what both maps are showing. Not only are we still getting on rainfall across the north coast, St. Anne, section of Portland and the Euro, GFS, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland, eastern St. Thomas, but we're starting to get on some of the action across some southern and western parishes. Euro believing that Westmoreland sections of St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine could get now some of the rainfall, so too sections of southern Trelawney, southern St. James and southern Hanover. GFS is believing that it's going to be eastern Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew. We'll see it actually plays out. Look out for some afternoon rainfall on Thursday for sure, especially since we see the GFS showing this, and you know the GFS is more accurate when it comes to the afternoon rainfall. So clearly the forecast is for rainfall on the northeastern side of the island, and then across section of some southern parishes during the afternoon. And even the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps here from the Euro and the GFS are in agreement that it's going to be raining somewhere in Jamaica within the next 24 hours. The Euro going up to at least 0.3 of an inch of rainfall, especially in Portland. The GFS going up to at least 0.99 of an inch of rainfall in Portland. We'll see it actually plays out, and whatever happens, I will definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. Are taking a look at the total, the rainfall that we usually receive in St. Anne for the month of November. That's around 136 millimeters of rainfall. That's about the same as 5.4 inches of rainfall. While the rainfall that we usually receive in Clarendon, we usually receive 113 millimeters of rainfall this month. That's about the same as 4.4 inches of rainfall. And if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives in terms of rainfall for the month of November, you can visit nomadseason.com and that website to show that information. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us according to the latest Euro and GFS Supercomputer model runs that came out today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top as we go out to the next 168 hours. Keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens represent inches of rainfall. So let's see what's going to be taking place. Alright, so as you can see here, we're looking at Friday now because we just looked at Thursday, so we're going to be looking at Friday instead. As you can see, Friday morning has rainfall across the northeastern end of the island in the greens. Friday afternoon, rainfall across the eastern, central, and western parishes. What does the GFS show on the, for the same time period? Friday morning, northeastern parishes with that rainfall. Friday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. What do we say on Saturday morning? On Saturday morning, northeastern parishes with that rainfall again. On Saturday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, central, western parishes. What does the GFS show? On Saturday morning, rainfall across northeastern parishes. On Saturday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, central, western parishes. What do we see on Sunday morning? On Sunday morning, we're seeing rainfall across the far eastern end. On Sunday afternoon, we're seeing rainfall across some central and eastern parishes. What do we see on Sunday morning on the GFS? Sunday morning, don't see much of anything. Sunday afternoon, don't see much of anything either. So we have some contrast here on the Euro and the GFS. What do we see for Monday morning? Monday morning, rainfall across some northern and eastern parishes. Monday afternoon, we're seeing rainfall across some northern parishes. What do we see on the GFS? Monday morning, rainfall across some northern and eastern parishes. Monday afternoon, rainfall across some northern and western parishes. What do we see on Tuesday morning? So we're looking at Tuesday into Wednesday now. Tuesday morning, nothing at all for Jamaica on the Euro. Tuesday afternoon, don't see much of anything either. And then we're stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Wednesday, November 26th. We're seeing some moisture across some northern and eastern parishes on the Euro for that time. What does the GFS show? Tuesday morning, rainfall across some northern parishes. Tuesday afternoon, we're seeing what looks like some isolated showers across central and western parishes, and then we're stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Wednesday, November 26th. Don't see much of anything across Jamaica at that time, and we don't see anything trying to develop. No red L's, no crazy moisture, so nothing tropical in nature, no tropical depression, storms, or hurricanes trying to develop over the next 7 days. I wonder that if something would have been shown, especially on the Euro, the Hurricane Center would have highlighted it. Taking a look at the total accumulated precipitation for the next 7 days, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are in agreement that the most rainfall over the next 7 days, we're talking about from now up until Wednesday, November 26th, should be across the areas that are shaded in the dark reds into the purples and the pinks. That represents up to 2 to 5 inches of rainfall. So anywhere from Suriname westward, Guyana, section of Trinidad and Tobago, the ABC Islands, Venezuela, sections of Colombia into Panama, so to eastern Nicaragua, so to sections of Honduras getting in on the action. And we see that both the Euro right here and the GFS right here are in agreement with that forecast. So those areas could get now some amount of isolated flash flooding, while other areas that are shaded in the greens, yellows, oranges, and reds up to an inch of rainfall or less for portions of the Yucatan into Belize, Guatemala, El Salvador, much of Honduras into the Cayman Islands, Cuba, the Bahamas, much of the Greater Antilles into the Lesser Antilles for sure. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS mods are in agreement with that. But if we zoom in on Jamaica's rainfall totals from now up until Wednesday, November 26th, we can see especially the northern parishes, especially the northeastern end, shaded in the greens. That represents maybe up to 15, maybe all the way up to maybe 30 millimeters of rainfall. It's 49 right here to the north of Portland, leaking into the northeastern part of Portland. GFS even more so, up to 50, maybe 60, maybe even 70 millimeters of rainfall. GFS going up to at least 87 millimeters right here out to sea. We'll see it actually plays out, and whatever happens, I will definitely be here to keep you posted with whatever occurs. Alright, so regarding what's happening across the rest of the Caribbean, as stated, a trough right here to the southeast of Dominican Republic, a trough right here across the southern Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, eastern Cuba, another trough right here to the far east of Bermuda. We see some moisture across Trinidad and Tobago into Venezuela, Guyana, the intertropical convergence zone, all of that moisture extending from the Windward Island into the Africa area. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar imagery, let us see what's happening down here near Puerto Rico. We can see some moisture down in here across the waters to the north of Puerto Rico, extending all the way into the Dominican Republic. Some moisture in and around the British Virgin Islands. We also see some moisture in and around St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat, east of Guadeloupe into southern portion of Dominican Republic, getting in some amount of moisture, some light moderate, even some heavy rainfall down there. And if we take a look at the Barbados radar, we can make out some amount of rainfall trailing into portion of Barbados, some rainfall here and there, hit or miss, not even hit or miss, some decent amount of moisture across southern Dominica, pushing from east, northeast, west, southwest into section of Martinique, St. Lucia getting in some of the action. So too, some isolated shores or section of St. Vincent, not necessarily the Grenadines, maybe southern Grenada, and we see a lot of moisture into Trinidad and Tobago, some light moderate, even some heavy rainfall at that. And if we take a look at the wider VF Doppler radar images, we can see that moisture across the Dominican Republic, the waters to the north of there. We see some moisture across Venezuela into Colombia too. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are in agreement that within the next 24 hours, from now up until 10 p.m. on Thursday, there should be rainfall wherever we have the greens into the yellows, oranges, and reds. For portions of the Yucatan into Belize, Guatemala, sections of Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama into Colombia, so too sections of Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guiana, Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada, sections of Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, so too section of the US and British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, northeastern Jamaica, section of northern Haiti, southeastern Cuba, the southern Bahamas and the Yucatan, or well, not the Yucatan, the Turks and Caicos definitely getting on some amount of rainfall within the next 24 hours. And we can clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in agreement with this forecast. I know that when they're in agreement like this, the chances are higher for it to actually take place. Alright, so regarding what's happening across the Eastern Pacific, tropical cyclone activity is not expected during the next 7 days. And this is the reason why nothing over here trying to develop at this time. So that's good news for Mexico and Hawaii. We know that if something should acquire the name, if something should get named, the next name on the list is Sonia. Regarding what's happening on the Western Pacific, nothing at all as you can see here, but we're still watching the Southern Indian Ocean. That system to the north of Australia still hasn't even really moved. As you can see it right there, we're seeing that it is still a tropical cyclone, as you can see there. And if we take a look at the close-up, definitely looking formidable, as you can see there. As of right now, it is packing 60 knot winds, and we see that it's expected to curve to the southeast and then south, developing from a 60 knot system to a 65, maybe up to a 70, 80 knot system. And we can see the wind speeds right here, 60, 65 up to 80, definitely representing hurricane status. As of right now, as a 60 knot system, still a high-end tropical storm, because now that systems that pack anywhere from 34 to 64 knot wind are classified as tropical storm. So it is up there in the intensity, but not yet a hurricane at all. Tropical cyclone Fina. And whatever happens, whatever damage comes out of Northern Australia, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.